Hey guys, today we're going to get into unboxing the BeeCool Jupiter X1 Mini electric bike. This is one of the cheapest 72 volt electric bikes that you can get on the market right now. So if you're looking to get yourself into the 72 volt, 50 mile an hour plus electric bike, this is your ticket to it. With my discount code of $50, you can pick one up for $21.49. All right guys, let's go ahead and get in the unboxing. Let's start out by looking at how the bike was packaged inside of here. So looking inside the box, looks like they put some nice styrofoam around the rear and on the back rack. The back rack is already connected. It looks like it's coming with some extra fenders. It's packaged decently well.
I was wrong.
This box is just kind of sitting in here, and looking at the accessories, it appears that they just kind of tossed it in the box and it's been floating around. I did notice that this does not come with the charger, so I don't know if the charger is shipped out afterwards or whatnot, but I have not received any kind of tracking number on the charger at this point. Something to keep in mind, looks like there's going to be two packages. Okay, next up, we're going to go ahead and cut the sides of the box, so that way that we're able to pull the bike out of the box. Looks like the tire is not connected. It just fell out. That's first. Most times whenever I unpackage a box or bike, the tire is zip tied to the frame. Cutting open the box, you can see how the bike is packaged inside of the box. The tire was not zip tied or secured to the bike in any way. So as soon as I cut this front of the box, the tire just fell out. Looks like there's also, from it banging around, there's damage to my paint as well. Quite a few places actually. As you can see, this is probably where the axle was rubbing against there and scuffed up paint pretty good. Okay, now that we got the bike out of the box, looking it over for damages, it looks like the only place where there's any kind of damage is right here where the wheel was not secured to the frame like most bikes are when they're shipped. It looks like the axle or something else rubbed across here and beat this up pretty good.
Wrong again!
I know of one other YouTuber that has purchased the same bike and he complained about the same problem. Scratch would be an easy thing to remedy. All they have to do in order to remedy that is just go ahead and secure the wheel to, like they do with everything else. Just put a zip tie, put it through the wheel pedal crank, and that should resolve that issue.
We've done 100 assembly videos, so let's put this on time lapse. And I'll slow down if I run into any odd issues.
Before installing the front wheel, you are going to want to loosen the front brake caliper. I found that on mine, it was too tight and the caliper just wasn't lined. So it's not allowing me to install the wheel. So you have two caliper bolts holding it in place here and here. It takes a 5mm Allen. Just go ahead and loosen all of those so that way that your caliper has some play. Make sure to hold the other side so that way that doesn't come out. And just spin this into place. Don't forget, once you get your wheel installed, you want to center your brake pads and tighten that up as well. What came in the box is an instruction manual that was rolled up, a headlight, front turn signals, some tools, and some pedals that appear to be purple. Everything in here was just completely free-flowing, rolling around the box, similar to the way that the tire was. Next step, we're going to install the fender, the headlight, and the turn signals. So the headlight was going to thread through this bolt right here, and they're all going to mount right on here with the fender, and then the fender is going to bolt on the two sides here, and then also right up top. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, from here, you need to go ahead and plug in your turn signal. Picture these two red wires, and then the yellow is going to be your headlight. So first I'm going to plug my headlight in because I know that there's only one plug, so I know I'm going to get that right. And now my turn signals, I'm going to guess because I have no idea. It's not marked which one's left and which one's right. One of my buddies did this and he had the turn signal turned on when he plugged this in, and it ended up smoking. So be very careful, make sure that your headlight is not turned on or your turn signals when you plug that in. Now that that's plugged in, let me go and see if I got it right. Left turn signal, of course I got it completely backwards. Well, let's power it off. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug my turn signal. We're gonna go ahead and go by the old saying, if you're bleeding when you put something together, that means you're gonna put it together right. So now I reversed the plugs on it. Let's go ahead and see if I got it right this time. I'm powering the bike on. Now left turn signal. I can see the left is flashing on the rear, on the front and the rear. Now right. Headlight is on. Alright guys, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of my first impressions of this bike. First impressions, you can tell it's the first run of the bike. A lot of issues that frankly could have been really avoided. Knowing that this company is a very well-known brand. BeeCool has been around for quite a few years at this point. I would not expect them to have these kind of issues that they had. And, the first thing is frankly shipping. I know that several other people have already started kind of releasing their first impression videos, but having a bike, shipping it out, and not even doing something as simple as securing the front wheel. Every bike I've ever purchased before this one, the front wheel is secured through zip ties, foam, cardboard, everything else to one of the crank arms. Doing that keeps that so it's not floating around all over the, all over the bike, all over the box, kind of being banged around. What ends up happening when it gets banged around, because it's not, number one, front rotor gets warped. That's really, unfortunate. There was no protection on that. It got warped really quickly. Second thing is, you can see, if I can get it to focus, there you go. All right, you can see this is not just a scratch, that's a gouge, and that's really sharp right there. I went over and just installed a cup holder there, frankly, just so that way that I could protect, myself from rubbing up against it, because I don't want to sand it down and lose the paint. So we got to figure out what to do on that one. I'm not totally sure, but again, could have been 100% avoided. I don't know why in the world that they thought that. Number one is rotor warped from banging around. Number two is a lot of issues on the frame. There's gouges there, up here, on the handlebars, if I can get it to focus. You can see that it's gouged all across the handlebars. Yeah, that's a mistake that should have never happened. It's also scratched all underneath there. Number four is these bolts here on the headset, they're too short. Frankly, I think this is just the wrong headset for the job in the first place. But you can see here, because of just frankly the bolts aren't long enough. So looking at that bolt, there's only probably 3 or 4 threads holding this headset actually clamping down into place. This is a huge concern, and at some point in time, that's just going to come loose. And frankly, just using these in general, like, I mean, I get because it's mini, they're trying to be able to adjust it for the rider height. But using these in general, they come loose over time. That's going to be an issue. Number 5, my derailleur guard was bashed into the bike frame. I've done my best to pull it out. So I've pulled that out, but it looks like my derailleur is not functioning properly now because of it being bashed in. I'm going to try to adjust it, see what I can do about it, but I have a feeling that derailleur is going to be toast and it's going to need to be replaced. All right, number 6, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, again, well-known bike company. It feels like they forgot to put pedals in the order. So then they're like, all right, let's go ahead and stick these ugly purple pedals onto a high-powered bike. I don't feel comfortable with using a breakaway pedal. You know, I mean, it's great. It's a folding pedal. I can go over and do that, and now it folds. It's kind of a little bit out of the way, but pedals don't take up that much space, number 1. Number 2, purple with a red bike, red and black bike, and then you have a purple pedal. I already ordered replacement pedals for it. That's just silly. I don't know why they did that. Next thing is this battery. I had to go over, and I've actually finally fixed it, but I hope that they fix that way before it goes into production for most people to get their bike. I could not remove the battery from the frame, no matter what I did. I had to actually go over and remove frame bolts and actually pull an assembly out in order to get this battery out. Once I did that, I was able to rework it, get everything, you know, kind of lubed up and make sure that everything wasn't binding. And now I can get the battery out, but it's tight. It's a very difficult process to get the battery out. And even when I do, you have to squeeze the battery itself all the way up into the frame, and then the latching mechanism, if you're lucky, will come undone. It takes some effort. Again, I get this is first run, but I really hope that they fix that before it goes out to the major population for production. Now, the issue with the bike, the motor. There is something very bad going on with the motor. I'll go ahead and throw a video clip here. But unfortunately, it makes a grinding noise. The camera didn't do a wonderful job of picking up, but you can kind of get the idea that it grinds when you try to accelerate. There's something going on there, not sure what. I get this as a budget 72-volt bike, but I shouldn't expect that the motor to be failing out of the gate. Even though I can make it accelerate, that grinding tells me that that motor is already on its way out, and that shouldn't be happening. Again, first run, I get it, but that's kind of where it's at on that one. And the last thing is the frame shock. It does have a spring, and it also looks like it has an air valve on it. I went ahead and tightened this spring up in order to be able to support weight, because before it was just dropping down, and I was actually, you know, it was going to the point where the tire was actually rubbing against this fender, making an awful noise as well. You have to buy specific tools in order to tighten that. I went ahead and tightened that down, but there's also an air valve right there. I tried to add air into it. It has 50 PSI is what it had in it. I went ahead and added 150, and within a couple minutes, it was back down to 50 again. So I'm trying to wait for BeeCool to come back to me. I'm guessing that they're telling me that it's an oil valve. I'm not totally sure about that, but I tried to look up the part number for the shock, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I'm waiting for them to come back again, tell me for sure, because when they told me that it was just a spring, they actually blurred out the valve in the photo. We can do better than that. You know, if it's not supposed to be an air valve, don't blur it out, because that just makes you look bad. One last thing, it didn't come with a charger either. I think that's silly. Like, why would you ship out a bike with no charger? They told me when I asked them about it, they said, okay, it's because we're upgrading to a 6 amp charger instead of a 5 amp. Wonderful. I'm glad that you guys are doing that. But they told me we're looking about 4 weeks out before I will actually be able to ship and get a charger for the bike. So I now have to stare at this bike for a month without being able to put any power into it. That really stinks. Like, my opinion, that's great that you're upgrading to a 6 amp charger, but ship me the 5 amp and then ship the 6 amps later. You're just going over and it's a tease. It's not really a kind tease, if I'm being honest. Again, these are all things being, the first edition of the bike. These are things that I expect to happen. And I don't necessarily think that this is going to make it going to be a bad bike in the future. But what that does mean is that we have an opportunity to show that we can do better. It's not how you fail that matters, it's how you recover from it. So I hope when I hear back from BeeCool, I'm hoping that they provide me fixes for everything, ship the parts, and say, all right, well, we've made changes to our shipping, so that way we're now going to secure the front wheel. We're going to make sure that the charger comes with the bike. We're gonna do better. And I think that that's going to mean a lot more when they come back and give a response. And I'll make sure to let everyone know what the response is for it. But I think that that's going to be the most important thing, is how they respond to shipping a product that is, frankly, I don't care if it's the cheapest 72-volt bike on the market. It could be $1,000, but if you ship $1,000 bike that doesn't function, you're missing the boat, and it's a waste of $1,000. So again, it's in BeeCool's court. I will make sure to let you guys know whatever I find out.
There you have it, guys. Our Jupiter is unboxed and put together, ready to ride as soon as I get my battery charger in. That's it for today. Always remember to keep pedaling, and I'll see you in the next one.